Hey guys, this is Oliver. I'm here for George's Cameras today, and we're looking at the GFX100S II. When the GFX100 II was announced, we knew that the new camera would come more aimed at professionals who needed something a bit more all-round. Whilst it isn't as heavy on the video-centric features, it still shares a lot in common with it, including its 100 megapixel sensor, film simulation modes, great build quality, and great battery life for a medium format camera. So one of the most important features that people were waiting for with this camera was the phase detection eye autofocus, which is here. And compared to the GFX50s, this thing is a lot faster and a lot better for focus. Really, really snappy. And whilst we were shooting today, we found that such a great feature, and it has made shooting in studio like we have today really, really easy. This camera does have the 16-bit files that you get with the GFX100 II, but if you do want to shoot bursts, it is only 14-bit, which is still a huge amount of room for stills files and allows us to edit a lot. The big thing with this camera as well is being 100 megapixel, the files are massive, with an average file size of about 200 megabytes per raw image. We were really fortunate to have Pierce join us and let us test this camera out on him. And as you can see from the files, there is a lot of room to play with. They have really great texture. They feel really good to work with. And the other nice thing as well is when you've got that 100 megapixel, you really don't want to miss your autofocus. So combining that with the new phase autofocus detect really helped us out and allowed us to make sure that almost every shot that we got was in focus and really snappy. It meant that we didn't miss a beat as Pierce moved, and it also meant that we weren't having to try and fight against the autofocus to make it work. The other nice thing with this camera is the build quality. In the hand, it still feels really, really solid, much like its bigger brother. The autofocus controls are nice and easy. Like a traditional SLR, it does have your manual modes, aperture priority, shutter priority, program, and your custom modes. Now, some people really do like the controls that you do get on the XT series, but for most working professionals who have come from other systems or have shot with an SLR, this will feel very comfortable for most professional photographers and enthusiasts alike who are very used to the traditional SLR control. So this camera will shoot 7 frames per second, which for a medium format is super, super impressive. But the other thing that I think a lot of people are really going to enjoy is the IBIS. We used it a little bit today. Whilst we were shooting strobe, we did shoot on quite low shutter speeds for quite a few shots. This allowed us to get the background nice and exposed, but because of the flash, we still managed to capture Pierce nice and still and sharp in the image. This is a great thing to be able to do, to be able to almost layer your shot by exposing for your background, but not ending up with any motion blur because of the IBIS in this camera. The IBIS is obviously a great feature for video. With over 8 stops of stabilization, we do think that this inclusion in this model will make it a really, really great camera for a lot of photographers and videographers alike. So the camera has an always-on LCD on the top, which allows you to see information even when the camera's been put down and turned off. Really handy if you want to pick it back up without turning it on, just to check what settings you're on. I've been shooting mirrorless for a little while. I love shooting film still. I do think this camera, for a lot of photographers who, much like me, love to play around with creating beautiful editorial styled images, they will find this camera a great option. I've really enjoyed shooting today with the GFX100S II. I think anyone considering this camera will really enjoy it. And I know we'll be sharing more on georges.com.au really shortly. Thanks for tuning in, guys.